Welcome back everyone to Pineleaf Peaks, and today we'll be taking a peek at Hive. This is a bug-themed tabletop game where the object is to surround your opponent's queen bee. So we will hit play, and we have 4 choices here. And today we're going to look at pass and play so that I can show you the various movements of the pieces without having to worry about an opponent coming around and trying to surround my queen. Now I'm going to have color selected at random, first move selected at random, though you can choose them to be whatever you want if you need. And we'll have some game modifiers here. And I'm just adding the 3 expansions, the pillbug, the ladybug, and the mosquito. The tournament rule just enforces that you can't play your queen on the first turn. I never played the queen on the first turn anyway, so it's a bit of a moot point. So we'll start our game. And here we are. These are the various pieces. You start the game by placing any one of your insects. So it looks like black is first in this run. So we will go with, let's just put a grasshopper on. And now we have the other side who can now place theirs. And let's start with the beetle. Now I'm not going to show you how these move yet. I'll just get a few pieces out on here. Then I can explain how the various pieces move on the board. Now once we get to this point of the game, you're no longer allowed to place a piece next to an opposing piece. It must be next to one of your pieces. Cannot touch one of the others at the start. This rule, of course, is violated during the first 2 turns because first player has no pieces at all to put next to, and the second player only has opposing pieces. But after that, those first 2 turns, we have this rule in effect. Now another rule that's in effect is that you cannot move a piece from its original position until you've moved out your queen bee. So therefore, let's put out our queen. Put a spider there. And let's put out our ladybug here. And now this player now must put out the queen. The rule is that you must put your queen out during one of your first 4 turns. Of course, in a tournament, you have to wait until your second, third, or 4th turn, since you can't do it during the first turn. And the reason for the tournament rule is to reduce the number of draws, because one of the most common ways to get a draw is for both queens to be surrounded at the same time. Alright, now we have some bugs up there. Let's get a few more varieties up so that we can see what we have. We have at least one of those, we've got one of those, Alright, looks like we've got everything out, well, except for a pillbug. Oh, so let's get a pillbug out. And we will put this here. Alright, very well. Now, let's see what we can move. Now, the first thing we have is, well, we have the ant. Now, this ant won't be able to move this turn, but now this ant can move. I have a choice of either placing another piece or moving a piece. So in this case, this ant. Now, this ant can move around the perimeter of the board. And the ant can move anywhere. Now you cannot move here because there's a rule called freedom to move, which means that you can only place a piece if it can fit. So therefore, since you cannot slide it in and out, you cannot place a piece here. But you can slide around any of the legal ones along the perimeter. So therefore, let's move right here. Alright, very well. And this one will also, alright, we'll just hit here on the other side. So this is going to be their way of, this also not only sets up a part of your attack on them, but it also gives you a good place where you could put pieces, because now you can put new pieces down here and in a position where they could easily attack. So therefore, let us see what we have next here. Now the queen here is pinned. This means that the queen cannot move without violating another rule which says that all pieces must be connected to each other. So if I move this queen, we would be breaking the connection. So that breaks the one hive rule. And there's also the point that the queen doesn't have freedom to move into either of these 2 points. So there are 2 reasons this queen cannot move. So instead, we will take the ladybug and show you how that ladybug moves. And the ladybug moves by moving 3 spaces. But 2 of these spaces it moves are on top of the hive. And then the third, so we could go here. So I can either move one this way, or I could move here, 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 here. So there are a lot of places which we can move. Now this says green, and this I guess means that it's an attacking type move because you'll be ending next to an opposing piece. So let's pin down this ant. Now this ant can't move due to the one hive rule. Right. And so that's referred to as pinning a piece. After that, now black, let's see, we have this mosquito here. Now the mosquito moves by imitating another piece. So therefore, the mosquito is next to the spider, so the mosquito is going to move like a spider. Now the spider moves 3 spaces exactly, but unlike the ladybug who walks on top of the hive, the mosquito simply moves around like this. So the mosquito move 1, 2, 3. And the other thing about how the spider moves is the spider has to be continuously next spot must be next to the spot they were next to the piece that they were next to originally. So therefore, it moves here. The spider cannot move from here to here directly because that'd be next to this spider. So therefore, then next moves here, and then finally moves here. So let us move here then. And we're attacking then there. See, our next is white, and let's see. Let's take the pillbug. Now the pillbug moves 1. Now 1, that doesn't sounds like it's not a very powerful piece if it can only move 1. But what it can also do instead is to move another piece that's next to it. It can't move the queen due to the one hive rule, but we can move this mosquito. Except if it was the piece that moved the previous turn. So since that is out, we will instead move this ant here. Now this is not intended to be a good move because I'll be unpinning the queen, but the reason why I'm doing this is so that I can move the queen on a following turn. So I can move the queen here. So I'm going to move the queen here. Yeah. Actually, so we'll move the queen right there. So now I've pinned this ant in pretty tightly. And now the queen is all alone, which probably isn't too bad because now there's no one surrounding the queen. Alright, so who is next? Oh yes, this pillbug. Now the pillbug can move the mosquito. And now what happens is the pillbug moves by moving on top of the pillbug and then to one of the other spaces. So therefore, we move the pillbug here. The mosquito then can go... Well, we want it away from... If you smell what rock is cooking, I don't know the meaning of that achievement, but alright, I guess I hit a new achievement there. Very well. So therefore the pillbug is able to move another piece that way. So we've shown you that. We've shown you the ants. Haven't had a real chance to see how the beetle really works. So let us move this beetle right here. Now the beetle moves only one space, but the beetle can move on top of the hive and stays on top of the hive right there. Alright, so therefore this means then that the mosquito is now okay, that beetle's already moved, so let's get the okay, I had the pillbug go in, get itself pinned. Well, maybe that's not too bad of a problem. Let's get one of the grasshoppers out, because this grasshopper there is not going to go anywhere, so I need to show you how a grasshopper works. Let's bring out a grasshopper. And this beetle will continue to move down this way. And we will see what now the grasshopper, as you can guess, moves by jumping. So the grasshopper moves over at least one other piece and into an empty spot. The grasshopper can ignore freedom to move because grasshoppers jump, and therefore they don't need to squeeze out of it. They just jump over everything. Now, of course, I know I'm blocking my own queen there, but that's another matter. We'll continue moving this. Where'd she go? Alright, that's for covering the opposing queen, because now the queen can't be seen on the board. Right, and that means then that our next is we've shown an ant, we've shown a beetle, we got the beetle on top, we've seen a grasshopper. And a spider. Well, now this, oh yeah, I'll get my own spider then out. And a spider moves 3 as I showed before, so that'd be 1, 2, 3 here. Now spiders are very tricky to get to move to the right spot, since they always have this exact 3 thing, so manipulating it so it can be right where you want it. And one reason I could be wanting to move the spider is to give freedom to move for someone else to move here, since now something can move into that space. Alright. And now the beetle, if it's crawling down from the top to the bottom, doesn't need freedom to move either. So that's another exception to the usual freedom to move rule. Alright, now where were we? We had a spider. Let's get our mosquito out. There, that's a good place. Good place to put the mosquito is, of course, next to something that you want to imitate. Now, if I had an ant, for example, that was available, then probably an ant would be a good idea of something to imitate, because if you're imitating an ant, then you can move just about anywhere along the board. And the mosquito imitates something that it's next to. So let's go for this beetle to move. Let's see. I have an idea. Alright, now let's see. Now here we could imitate a ladybug. So we can move here. There we go. And this queen will continue to move here. And this mosquito will now imitate a beetle. Actually is next to quite a number of things. Next to a spider, so it can move like a spider. Next to an ant, so you have that freedom of movement of the ant. Next to a ladybug, so I could hop on top there, or I could be a beetle and go on top. Now, if I go like a beetle, this now is treated like a beetle, until it gets off the top. And that rule is there so that you're not in a weird situation where you have to move like an ant, but I'm already on top on it. So the rule is that once you're on top, you stay a beetle until you get down. So therefore, let's get this beetle down here. Good. And then we will, let's see, bring that ant there. Now, of course, black can't move here because there's no freedom to move there. So that was essentially a block move to prevent an instant black win. So then black has to come up with some other idea of how it is going to get out of there. Or I should say, how to block the white piece. And let's see how we can do that. Well, one way around it, it would be to see if we bring out a pillbug. And white now will try to start. Now, I could theoretically move in here. Unfortunately, one of the problems about going into there is that would lose the game, because it doesn't matter who finishes off the queen. If you finish off your own queen, you still lose the game, because you don't want your queen to be surrounded. And by surrounded, that means either your pieces or your opponent's pieces. So we will move here. Then it will be black's turn to... I'm trying to get a pillbug right here. Then white is... Let's get the beetle off of here. So now I can imitate either a queen or a grasshopper. The idea here then is to use the pillbug to move the ant. Now, the ant cannot move this turn because it not only moves him, but the ant can't move back in there. Of course, there's also freedom of movement to worry about also. Because the pillbug, it moves on top and then down, so therefore there is no problem about freedom to move. But here, getting back would be impossible. So that means black just needs to move here to win the game. So white has to prevent this, and the grasshopper, which doesn't need freedom to move, can move right into there. But of course, we've got a pillbug here. Oh yes, but you can't move a piece that moved on its last turn using the pillbug ability. So therefore, instead, black will... Well, let's move that to some place that can be useful. Is now we're threatening with the grasshopper move. Because now the mosquito is threatening because it's next to the grasshopper. So therefore, white needs some way of breaking this out. And one way to do that would be to move this beetle, for example, off. And since the beetle is off, then there is one less space to worry about. So let's try that. We will do our grasshopper move here. Then white can now go on the... Let's start moving that spider there. Black is going to see what it can get around. That's an interesting... Alright, let's start. One way to do it is start trying to get around here for an attack going in this direction. White then will start with that. Black will continue along the way, and there's 1, 2, 3. Just doesn't oh, that's right, there's no freedom to move there anyway. So you can see they're going around there trying to outflank the other side. Now white can... Let's get away from that pillbug, who can be very annoying in doing it, because of course the pillbug, if in the right position, might be able to move another piece so that you put another opponent's piece into the queen area. So therefore, being next to the pillbug can be dangerous. Now, unfortunately, black can't do anything there. So I think it's time to place a new piece. And the perfect place to put one there is right there. Now that's a new threat. And how do you stop that threat? I can't think of any way at the moment. One way, of course, is to move something so that's no longer surrounding your own queen. Ooh. Now that... Oh! I didn't see that one. I was just thinking moving the grasshopper out of the way so that it would not be in a position to be surrounded. But I didn't realize that in all that manipulating, I had managed to surround the black one and open up his position there. So therefore, I was able to jump out into there. So therefore, white wins the game because the black queen bee is now surrounded. No, that was nowhere near an efficient play of the game. All I wanted to do was show you how the various pieces worked and interacted with each other. And that's the game of Hive, a game where you are taking on the role of various bugs, and the object of the game is to go out and surround your opponent's queen bee. So tune in again next time for another episode of Pineleaf Peaks, where we'll take another look at one of my recent games that I've added to my Steam collection.